Good afternoon, dear students. Welcome back once again for the continuation of the poem that is Lochinvar. Today's class is for class 8. So, the second stanza. I have already given you, if you remember, an outline of the poem that is Lochinvar by Walter Scott. I gave you the theme. I also spoke about some elements of the poem. The words which are no longer in use, archaic words, and we have many more things to discuss, but when the time comes we will definitely do that. But for the time being, let us go ahead with this. The second stanza. He stayed not for brake and he stopped not for stone. So Ellen, that is the would-be wife of Lochinvar, is there in her house. Her father is not interested in Lochinvar marrying Ellen, that is his daughter. So he has arranged for another boy, right? So the marriage is about to take place and the marriage hall is filled with guests. Wine was flowing, there was a festive mood going on. People had come from far and wide, distant places, and this news has reached Lochinvar. And Lochinvar became furious. As I had told you in the previous class, he was a knight, a brave man, known for his brave deeds. So on hearing the news that Ellen is going to get married to another man, he galloped. He rode fast. He started flying towards his sweetheart, that is Ellen. He stayed not for brake. So brake means once. He had to cross many streams. He had to cross a stony path which was filled with boulders, pebbles, hard stones. He had to cross some thorny bushes, pass by through some thorny bushes, but he stayed not for brake. He did not stay because there was a barrier of river. There were rivers to cross, and he stayed not for brake, and he stopped not for stone. There were many stones lying on the way. Stones of different kinds, boulders, pebbles, gravel, many kinds of stone. And he did not stop for the stone. So, he did not stop where there were small water bodies, brake. He did not stop because the road was stony, because the road was filled with thorny bushes and many other barriers. No barrier stopped him. Lochinvar was a hero. He was a swashbuckling hero. You can call him as a swashbuckling hero. A hero with a heart of a lion. He was a lion-hearted hero. He was a daring hero, and he did not get deterred. What is the meaning of deterred? He was not upset. Nothing could stop him. No natural barrier. Neither the streams, nor the rivers, nor the thorny bushes, nor the pebbles, nor the gravel, nor the boulders. Nothing could stop him. He kept on riding. He galloped with the speed of lightning. He swam the Eski river where ford there was none. So, he had to come across the river. He had to cross the river. And what was the name? The Esk River. Probably this was a river somewhere in Scotland. And ford there was none. What do you mean by ford? A shallow part of a river. So, there was no shallow part of a river. The entire river was a very deep river. But even the depth of the river did not stop him. So, the first two lines, they tell us about the movement of Lochinvar. And as I had discussed in a Zoom class, Lochinvar, the hero of the poem, was a lion-hearted man, and he never bothered about the consequences. His only aim was to reach the Netherby Gate. And what is the Netherby Gate? That is the house of Ellen. He wanted to meet Ellen by all means. So, he was faster than lightning, so to say. And if you read the lines, they produce a musical effect. You know, Walter Scott is a poet who wrote poems which consisted music in it. Or the lines produced a musical effect. If I read the lines faster, you can understand how musical they are. You see? He stayed not for brake and he stopped not for stone. He swam the Esk River where ford there was none. I repeat. He stayed not for break and he stopped not for stone. He swam the East River where ford there was none. Do you feel the musical effect? Yes, that is it. That is what Scott was known for. It is a brave hero who does the most important job. The poem focuses on Lochinvar, the hero, and the movements are in touch with the movements of the hero. The lines, the way he has expressed the lines, the way he has written the lines, give us a musical effect, and the effect is such that you feel as if the hero is galloping on the horse. So words are designed keeping the steps of the horse in mind. You see, he stayed not for break and he stopped not for stone. He swam the East River where ford there was none. And the next line, but ere he alighted at Netherby Gate. What is the meaning of ere? E-R-E. This is an archaic word. What do you mean by archaic word? A word which is no longer in use. It is an old expression. We don't use them in our daily conversation, in our daily life. But these words are old words, archaic words, right? And it means before. Before. The word E-R-E refers to before. It means before. But ere he alighted at Netherby Gate. What is the meaning of alighted? He got down. So on what was he riding? He was riding on a horse. He was riding with the speed of lightning. He was riding with the speed of lightning. Nothing stopped him. And the third line, but ere he alighted at Netherby Gate, the bride had consented, the gallant came late. How beautiful the lines are. Look at this. Before he alighted at Netherby Gate. What do you mean by Netherby Gate? The house of Ellen. It was a palace in which Ellen lived. Ellen's father was a small king. So before he got down from the horse and reached the Netherby Gate, the bride had consented, the gallant came late. Who is the bride? Ellen is the bride. Before Lochinvar could reach the Netherby Gate, that's the house of Ellen, the bride had consented. Who is the bride? Ellen is the bride. Before Lochinvar could reach the palace of Ellen, she had already agreed to marry the new man. As I told you, Ellen's father was not interested in giving Lochinvar in marriage to Ellen. So he had arranged another man. And this man was a coward. And therefore the poet says, the bride had consented. She had agreed to marry that new man, forgetting Lochinvar. The gallant came late. What do you mean by gallant? A brave man. Here, the word gallant, which is an adjective, refers to Lochinvar himself. Who was the gallant man? Lochinvar was the gallant man. Who was the brave man? Lochinvar was the brave man. But unfortunately, he came late. Before he could reach the Netherby Gate, Ellen had given her approval or given her consent. She agreed to marry that new man. And that was under pressure. Ellen's father had by force made her agree to the proposal. The gallant, unfortunately, Lochinvar was late. Now you see, the poem is becoming more and more interesting. Let's see what's happening after this. For a laggard in love and a dastard in war was to wed the fair Ellen of brave Lochinvar. Look at the fourth and the fifth line. For a laggard in love and a dastard in war was to wed the fair Ellen of brave Lochinvar. What do you mean by this? For a laggard in love. What is the meaning of laggard? Slow. He did not have any spirit in him. He was a spineless man, a coward. Whom do you call as a spineless man? A coward is known as a spineless man. What is a spine? Everyone knows. Spine gives structure to our body. But this man was a laggard. He was a slow-moving man. Very slow in nature. Inactive, lifeless, uninteresting, dull. Whatever you may use. All the negative adjectives. For a laggard in love, he had no art of love. He did not know how to love a woman. He couldn't express his love to that Ellen, the beautiful Ellen, who had fallen in love with Lochinvar. and a dastard in war. What do you mean by dastard? A man without honor. He had no honor. He had no honor. He had no bravery in him. So he was a worthless man. And unfortunately, Ellen was going to be given in marriage to this worthless man. And Lochinvar arrives at the palace. He arrives at the enemy gate. For a laggard in love and a dastard in war was to wed the fair Ellen of brave Lochinvar. Who was to wed Ellen? The new man was to marry Ellen. And what was the nature of this new man? He did not know the art of loving. Neither was he a brave man. So a coward and a dull man, an inactive person, a worthless person. So the second stanza is all about Ellen going to marry a new man and Lochinvar's speeding movements to take away Ellen. So he stayed not for break. Whom does the word he refer to? It refers to Lochinvar. He stayed not for break. He had to cross a difficult path. There were small streams, water bodies. And he had to kind of cross them, but he did not bother about them. He just crossed them with this powerful horse. And he stopped not for stone. What do you mean by stone? There were many stones laid on the way. Even those stones did not stop him. He swam the Eski river where ford there was none. That was a deep river. The waters were deep. They were not shallow. But even the depth of the water did not deter him or stop him from crossing the river. He crossed it. You see? One thing is very clear from this poem. Before I wind up, let me conclude with this point. That is, if you are firm in doing something, if you have something as a goal, fix it. If you have fixed a goal, if you are determined to achieve something, you will achieve that at any cost, irrespective of the consequences or the barriers. Whatever the barrier may be, whatever the problem or the challenge or the hurdle may be, you will achieve what you want. You should have the heart and a desire. That is it. So you see, the bride had consented, the gallant came late. Poor Lochinvar, before he reached the palace, Ellen had already given her consent and her approval to marry the new man. The gallant, that is the brave Lochinvar, came late. And in the last two lines, the poet discusses the character of this man, the new man. He was a laggard in love, didn't know how to love, and he was a dastard in war. He was a coward in war. And there are some archaic words, for example, ear. Ear means before. Okay. So these words need to be studied very carefully. It's quite an interesting poem. We have discussed two stanzas, and in the forthcoming classes, we'll have the rest of the poem discussed in detail. Pay attention, go through the poem, go through the stanzas, and make yourself familiar. So till we meet again, it's bye from me.